Hello again, Maverick traders, and welcome out to your daily currency recap. This is Ankit here, and let's break down today's market price actions of Tuesday, March 5th. As always, let's talk about broader market analysis. Let's take a look at what's happening overall, then bring it down to the currency baskets, take a look at relative strength and weakness on those currency baskets, and then take a look at some of the setups here. Let's get into it.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
So looking at market analysis here, let's just get right into the numbers and the news. So what we are seeing is some pullback in the markets. Again, markets have been pretty strong. There's, markets, equity markets, crypto markets, they have been running hot. So what we get when these markets are running so hot is that we do get some pullbacks in between. And that is really where everybody is kind of watching right now. So the equity markets did pull back today, again, coming off from all-time highs. So the pullbacks here at this point is healthy, and I think is due for a pullback. But at the same time, markets are still very resilient. We had a sharp pullback in the cryptos. Again, crypto had been running. Bitcoin had just broke that 68K mark, and we had a sharp pullback there too. So again, these are the times where you have to be very cautious of the market because you don't want to be getting in the tail end of the move. The big move has already happened. At this point, it's the last tail. It's just the chasing that's really happening in the broader markets. If we take a look at the numbers today, again, the currency markets was mixed across the board. And again, this is where we have talked about quite extensively that pay attention to relative strength and weakness as much as the global headlines. The currency markets are doing its own thing, but take a look at where weakness is. Kiwi is weaker on the trend score and is showing weakness. CAD is showing relative weakness. These are the currencies you want to be short. Aussie now taking the last rank there in the weaker currency. So I really like Kiwi and the CAD short. You can see that some of the European currencies, Euro was flat, Pound was slightly higher. Swiss franc, which again being a nice little short, having a little bounce, and so is the yen. So today's a day where some of the counter-trend moves happen in the yen and the Swiss franc, but then some of the trending moves that continued on with the CAD and the Kiwi. So really, this is a good time to, again, pay attention to a relative sort of weakness instead of the global risk on and risk off theme. Now you can see that in the broader markets today, it was a weak day. S&P down 1%, World Stock Index down 0.77%. Again, oil down small, and the gold was up 0.5%. But the big move today was really in the crypto, again down close to 10%. So again, I'm not surprised to see these moves because again, when things are running up over and over for the last few weeks, we are going to see a point where markets are going to have these sharp pullbacks and maybe for the shorter term end of that rally there. So be on the lookout there for that. Now you can see that in the crypto world, Bitcoin Cash pulled back 17%. Bitcoin was down 7%. Again, these are big moves if you take a look at where things have been, but at the same time, things have been running pretty hot as well. So we're seeing big moves in both ways, and that's really where we are in the markets. Looking at our score market outlook again, the big question I always take a look at is, let's take a look at the chart. Has anything changed? And if you take a look at the chart here, we're still above the 20, still above the 50. So still, we're seeing more strength. Overall, the market's been more trending to the upside. But take a look at those sellings that we've seen the last maybe day or two on higher volume. I wouldn't be surprised that market sort of go back and forth a little bit, maybe try to pull back. I think markets are due for a correction. So the question as a trader we always ask is that where is the next big move? It seems like, again, the big moves I think has already happened. We continue to run. The last couple of months have been really bullish. Last 4 months have massive gains. So I think the big move's kind of done. Right now we can go maybe sideways or maybe start to pull back, break below the 20, and then the 50 will become the next level of support. So I think that's really where we are in the markets. We still have a lot of headlines to go through. Again, if you take a look at the news events, we have pretty packed the next 3 days here. So starting tomorrow, we have the Bank of Canada rate statement. This is the important one I'm looking at. Again, CAD is showing weakness. CAD CPI was weaker, I think there's more reason for the Bank of Canada to be dovish than hawkish. So I'm looking at more to the downside in the CAD. Then we have some data out of the US, like jobs opening number and Fed Chair Powell. Remember, the inflation has picked up last month in the US. So I think the Fed over here are acting less dovish as they were back in November and December. So I think this is the area where there's more risk for markets to pull back, and there is a little bit more risk for the USD to catch a little rally here. But remember that the US dollar has been more range bound overall, so not really expecting spectacular out of the USD front. But at the same time, in the shorter term, we could see USD gain a little bit. And as you can see, that Thursday and Friday are really packed as well between the jobs report and the ECB as well. So let's just take one day at a time. Next 24 hours is definitely where I want to be actively trading. So let's take a look at currency analysis, take a look at where the velocity scores are. As you can see, the velocity scores are pretty split. So for the short term, counter trend moves on this is franc and yen. Remember, every time I see a counter trend move, I want to short those rallies. So I still like these on the downside. I don't like them to the upside. Now, the British pound, again, showing relative strength. So I want to continue looking at the pound as well. The euro is showing strength. I mean, not velocity today, but overall, trend scores are pretty strong. But take a look at the trend on the dollar. It's been sideways. So always, when you look at velocity, keep in mind where the trend scores are. And as a rule of thumb, you want to be trading with the trend. That's where you're going to see better gains across the board. I really like Kiwi and CAD onto the downside. They're still showing the velocity score was down and trend score is down. So perhaps good time to take a look at dollar CAD, Kiwi, dollar. But again, take a look at pound Kiwi and pound CAD. I think they'll probably be good pairings. And even if you take a look at Aussie against the Kiwi and CAD, I think Aussie is relatively doing better against those two currencies. So let's take a look at the possible setups ahead as we looked at the relative strength of weakness. And looking at the currencies, first thing first, I want to bring everybody to the USD. Remember, I've talked about this in the currency room and over the last few weeks is that, hey, this is not the currency you want to be short. I think overall, pullbacks are getting bought, but this is, again, a very small range. There's movement that we get around these events. This morning, we had some data come out, and you can see that there was a big move there. But whenever outside of that move, you don't see a whole lot. So this is, again, a good time to just look at dollar around these events, but then take a back seat. The yen, you can see that overall is catching a little bit of rally, but realize that there's still a bear rally in the grand scheme of things, maybe a little bit rally further over here. Swiss franc is the one that, again, take a look at the chart. This is still trending lower. I still want to be short. This is franc over long. This is franc. And so is the CAD. I mean, take a look at how CAD is showing relative weakness on this velocity chart. It's below that 20-day, the 13-day exponential moving average. It's below the parabolic SAR. Again, showing relative weakness. That's where you really want to be. Take a look at the Kiwi. You can see Kiwi is showing relative weakness as well. So what's showing relative strength? Pound. Look at that. Pound broke out above that resistance. So every time you get these breakout above these key resistance level, that's where you want to turn a little bit more directional. So I like pound to the upside, and I like the euro on the upside. So let's take a look at the setups here. I like British pound and CAD going into tomorrow. Beautiful setup right here on the daily chart. Remember, we're getting better setups on daily over shorter term. Now, 4-hour chart, where I want to use the order entry. You can see shallow pullbacks, little base rally here, and then boom, right break above that. So at this point, I think I want to look for some sort of pullback, some sort of sideways price action to jump into it right there. So I like British pound going into tomorrow. I like the euro CAD as well. Again, doing the exact same thing. We got some massive resistance above that 148 area, but break above that, I do like it further to the upside. So remember, this is really what's moving. Now we can also take a look at pound against Kiwi. There's another one that I like. A little pullback in the shorter term. I mean, we still, as long as we stay above this moving average, I would want to be using that as a bull pullback opportunity. Same thing goes with Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi just pulling back a little bit in the short term, but I want to be looking to be on the long side there. So these are the setups again that we're looking at. And we have the the Fed tomorrow, the Fed Chair Powell testifying, and we had some jobs opening numbers too. For that, I still like dollar Swiss franc on any pullbacks. If I want to play dollar long, that's what I want to be playing. In the shorter term, you can see it is going in a pullback. So this is a range bound price action on the lower side at 87.80. On the upper side is at 88.80. That's the 100 pip range. As we get towards the bottom of the range, I want to be a buyer, but not right now. Not in the short term, but I still like this on a longer term. Same thing goes with the dollar CAD. Again, take a look at this one. This again looks better than dollar Swiss franc, dollar CAD. If the dollar is going to break out, I think dollar CAD is a better pairing. Break above that 136 area, we'll get it easily towards the 130 area. So again, overall, as you can see, that's what relative strength and weakness is. Take a look at dollar against the yen. You can see that it's going sideways here. So again, shorter term, dollar Swiss franc and dollar yen doesn't look good ready, but realize that as it gets towards the bottom of the range, that's when we're going to be buying those currencies. Outside of that, again, I think you want to be active around news events. At the same time, pay attention to relative weakness. You can see right now, Aussie is showing relative strength compared to the Kiwi. So I like Kiwi short. I like on the contrarian side, if Aussie is doing better, so let's not be short the Aussie here based on the relative weakness. So in conclusion, looking to trade around these events. Again, tomorrow will be active day, especially in the morning with some data coming out and Bank of Canada. I'm more interested in trading the news for the rest of the week. Not just the Wednesday, but Thursday and Friday with the ECB and the U.S. and Canada jobs employment report. I think there will be plenty of opportunities. As a trader, you want to be trading when things are moving. So I think that's really where you're going to find the movement. As far as relative weakness goes, I like Kiwi and the CAD to the short side. As far as the strength goes, we like the euro and the pound. But then if the dollar strengthen on tomorrow, then maybe we can look at some pairings against that too. But remember the dollar pairings, we want to be short term. We want to be looking at short term, just trading range bound price action here. But pound and the euro crosses are more directional at this point. As always, pay attention to relative strength weakness, keep your trades to a minimum, and continue focusing on the bigger picture. Thanks for joining. See you in the next one.